Welcome to Elements of a Crime, Volume 2. Here we're going to talk about not just actus reus or mens rea. There are certainly other elements that make a crime, and certain other things that have to be there in order for a lawyer or a prosecutor to try and charge you with a crime. And for us to do that, let's look at a scenario here. Frank is helping his friend move into a downtown Seattle condo. While unloading a large mirror from the moving truck, the bright sunlight hits the mirror and reflects against the 40th floor of the skyscraper across the street, which temporarily blinds a window washer and causes him to stumble. During this moment of temporary blindness, lasting about a second and a half, the window washer inadvertently kicks over his window washing bucket onto the street below. The water and soap from the bucket hit the sidewalk right in front of Bill the jogger. Bill was unable to stop before stepping on the slippery sidewalk, causing him to lose his balance and fall. When Bill fell, he hit his head on the sidewalk, and Bill died 2 weeks later from his head injury. Suppose that Washington's law provides anyone who causes the death of another person shall be guilty of murder. Who should be charged as a murderer? Now, this is a tough one. Here we have Frank. Did he commit a criminal act? Technically, his actions led to the death of Bill. And anyone who causes the death of another person shall be guilty of murder. Technically, the window washer's accidents maybe were negligent, and maybe he should be charged with a murder. That is possible. Do we have any mens rea here? Was Frank intending to kill Bill? No. Was the window washer intending to kill Bill? No, but we know negligence could certainly be a part of this. It could be negligence in holding that mirror for that matter. But the issue is, could Frank or the window washer have ever foreseen this happening? No. This is not something that's a foreseeable result of their actions. The causation becomes an issue here. And it points out that there must be some other elements of a crime besides just actus reus and mens rea. A lot of these other elements are often obvious, but when you get something like that last scenario, that points out that maybe we need more definition here. For example, you want the guilty act and the intent to occur together, called concurrence. And I'll give you an example here. Let's say a wife is planning to kill her husband, and she's been plotting on it. She has this entire elaborate scheme for how to kill her husband. And a couple weeks before her planned killing of her husband, she accidentally bumps into her husband at the top of the stairs. He falls down the stairs and cracks his head open, dying. Now, she did something that led to the death of her husband. That is it is a criminal act. I mean, it was an accident, which becomes the issue. Can that be linked to her plans of murder, though? No. It can't be linked to her plans of murder because here you have a criminal act, the pushing down of the stairs, and the mens rea, the mental intent, is not there. So she probably can't be charged with a crime. She might be charged with something else for that planning of attack, though, which could itself be a crime. So concurrence, you want things to happen together. Causation, you want the criminal act to cause some sort of harm in this case, and you want it to be foreseeable is the key thing here. Foreseeable harm. So in our last scenario, it was not foreseeable that Bill would get hurt in this way. Now, there are a ton of other accompanying circumstances that can go with it too. For example, in a crime, you might have a crime against the elderly, or a crime against a child, or a crime that's particularly heinous, or a crime from a habitual offender, someone that's committed a lot of crimes. And crimes like that might get a harsher punishment, or might be treated differently by the court. Crimes against children, crimes against the elderly, crimes from an habitual offender, they get harsher punishments. And that's a further element of the crime that gets brought out. And lastly, you're looking for a crime to cause some sort of harm. That harm can be physical harm, it could be emotional harm, it could be property damage. All of that is harm. And you're trying to prove that that's occurring in some sort of criminal activity. Let's look at another example. Driving at a speed more suited to a highway, George R. Weller plowed his Buick through a crowded farmer's market, killing 10 people in the process. Weller, who was 87 at the time of the incident, claimed that he had confused the gas pedal for the brake and then panicked, making him temporarily unable to stop the vehicle. In 2004, a state superior court judge showed little sympathy, ordering Weller to stand trial on 10 accounts of vehicular manslaughter. Now, here we have a case, George R. Weller. He committed a criminal act, killing 10 people. Did he intend to do that? No. So he has the actus reus, but the mens rea may be questionable. What makes this a crime then if the mens rea is questionable? I hope you guessed it. It was negligence. He was not taking the proper care. And potentially, if he could not handle driving the vehicle, he shouldn't have been driving the vehicle. And this probably resulted in a lengthy jail term for an 87-year-old. Now, there are a few things that fall into a special category called strict liability crimes. And these are crimes that don't care about mens rea. They don't need mens rea. They don't care about your intent. They don't care about trying to prove negligence. They don't care about trying to prove recklessness. They're not concerned with that. And they're built like this just so they protect the public. So you kind of get punished no matter what with these crimes. It's hard to defend yourself in these crimes because you have the actus reus, and that's all you need. So the court only has to show the actus reus. And the two big examples of this are traffic violations and statutory rape. Now, traffic violations would be something like, okay, you're speeding. Can you say, can you argue in court, oh man, I didn't mean to. It was not my intent to speed. No, it doesn't matter what your intent was if you didn't know the speed limit. That doesn't matter. So if you're in an area where you're not sure what the speed limit is, you're still responsible for knowing that speed limit in that area. So you can still get a traffic violation for that. You're responsible for knowing that in Marshfield, Wisconsin, you can't be on the phone while driving. You're responsible for that. And so regardless of your intent, regardless of how many times you say, I didn't know, you still can be held accountable. And statutory rape works the same way. Statutory rape is a charge when an adult has some sort of relations with a minor. And statutory rape is not going to care whether or not the adult thought the minor was an adult as well. So if an adult has a relationship with a minor and the minor had been telling them that they were 18 or 19, that doesn't matter according to the law. The law doesn't care if you were lied to. They expect you to be responsible, and they're going to hold you accountable regardless of that. These are built to protect the public and not be as concerned about your intent. Okay. Now, these are the important elements of the crime to focus in on. I'm going to give you a lot of scenarios in the next couple videos, and you'll have scenarios in class. You have to be prepared to kind of use these different elements of a crime to determine if a crime is happening or not. The next phase of the class will, of course, be defense strategies, and you'll have to figure out when might be an appropriate time to use those defense strategies as well. So tune into the next video for that.